Welcome back to the Backend story. I'm your host, Rakesh. Today's guest is Ravi Vemuri. He's the director of engineering at Quizlet in San Francisco. His career did not start in the Silicon Valley. Rather, it starts with bad handwriting. Yes, as a kid, he thought computers are a way out of his messy handwriting. Little did he know that obsession paved the path for his career. Starting from maintaining his college website to leading teams that are now shaping how millions of students learn at Quizlet. In today's conversation, we will deep dive into his multiple failures at campus placements before landing a job on an unexpected day when his mom was seriously ill. How he picks hardest of the problems that teams are facing that no one else wants to even touch and turn them into career-defining opportunities. And how and what it means to lead with emotional intelligence, build self-motivated teams, and take fast, high-stake decisions in the age of AI. If you're someone who feels stuck or figuring out or unsure of what should be your next big move, or you're just curious about people's journey, Ravi's Backend story will give you a different thought and perspectives of how you think about growth, risk, and direction. Without further ado, let's get into the conversation. I'll let you introduce yourself and tell me what you do.
I'm Ravi. Currently, I'm working at Quizlet, and I've been in edtech for a few years now, almost 10 years. Edtech mainly because my parents are teachers, and I always felt there's a lot of opportunity how technology can help in education, especially with AI and how it's evolving. Like a fascinating time to work in a company like Quizlet right now.
That's great. And prior to Quizlet, you worked for, again, an education domain company.
That's right.
Pearson, that's where we met there.
Correct.
So it looks like you have almost a decade of education tech domain experience.
Yeah, while I keep exploring other domains, current fascination has been edtech so far.
Okay. For someone who is listening, what does a director's role look like in a day-to-day job? And what's something that is inspiring you today that you're working on?
I have been individual contributor. I've been engineering manager, team lead, and then grown into a director role naturally from management role. It's not an easy transition. Like to start with, managing engineers is different from managing engineering managers. So when you're managing engineers, you can directly influence them. You are part of the day-to-day activities that are happening in the team, and you have more flexibility to like adjust, adapt, and change things.
Yes.
Versus influencing through another level of leadership is a different skill. So it took some time for me to build that skill. And then as the director day-to-day, there are two parts of it broadly. One is how to influence, manage the team, how to ideate, how to identify those problems that can be solved upfront. Also setting up patterns, right? Like a lot of times when you're under time pressure, teams tend to take shortcuts, but as a director, you have visibility into a larger organization. And because of that, you tend to actually identify abstractions that are more important for the organization. And through those identification of abstractions, you can influence the managers on, hey, why you should solve the problem in a certain way versus taking a shortcut, for example. Or you can also like identify if somebody is over abstracting and like control that differently. And then there is a people related aspect, like helping people grow within your organization, providing the right opportunities, creating the organization itself. Like org structure is underrated, but org structure helps with a lot of things. If you have a good org structure, it helps with on-calls, it helps with launching stuff, it helps with setting the OKRs in a good way so that people are not working on like different things. We are working towards a vision for the
Yes.
company. And then last but not least, managing upwards.
Mm.
As a director, most of the time, you also are responsible for both like communication from executives to the teams, as well as from teams to executives, like what is the status of the
Yes.
project, keeping them informed. You have to do a course correction, making sure like the vision of the leadership is getting executed the right way within the right time frame is the biggest responsibility as a director, is what I would say.
Okay, so let's go back a bit. In fact, 2 decades back, and tell me what first got you interested in tech.
So if I remember correctly, I was in my 7th standard and I used to have very bad handwriting. And then that is the time when I was getting to know like something, a computer exists or a typewriter exists, and actually learning typewriting back then just for fun. And one day I got this idea that because my handwriting is bad, I want to actually learn computers and like not even think about handwriting anymore. That as a kid, that was my fascination for computers, right? Like, and I got interested. I started learning programming pretty early in my school. I used to play around with Basic and a bunch of other programming languages, build some small games, and then eventually felt like, okay, I should become like a software engineer is a dream I had in my 7th or 8th standard. From then on, I was just purely focused on that and did not think about anything else. So that's my starting point and interest in getting into tech. I was fascinated how much you can do and how much you can create in a virtual environment. Then when I got into engineering, that made me more curious towards other programming languages, various things that you can unlock with technology. And I used to also run our college website when I was in my engineering college. And yeah, that was a good example for me to also think more about how people are actually using software and how web can actually open up things and make things visible to various people. So yeah, all these lessons learned over a period of time, from handwriting to like running our college website and IT department.
Nice.
At some point, like all these things helped me in the journey. And then when I got placed in a campus placement at college, yeah, I was excited to join the company.
Nice.
The first company I worked with is called edtech.
What are some of the key learnings from your engineering days that are still influencing you, how you work?
There's a lot of influence. Like mostly college days shape up the leadership skills in me, is what I feel all the time. Because I was running this our department level thing called Fest, and like we used to meet every month as a department and share things about technology, like present all the research that was done in the department. What that taught me was it's not always the work that you do, it's also like the fun that you have and also how you help each other. That shaped my leadership skills, is what I would say. I learned how to deal with people, there's always conflict out there. As a leader, it's you who are actually helping those conflicts resolve and like shape them into something productive. Yeah, I surely learned those skills along with all the technical skills I learned at my college.
Nice.
So making friends is other great thing as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, quite a few people that I've spoken with, they have this trait in common where they have been participating on tech fest or going out for some cultural activities, stage performances, some way or the other, where they get to connect to people. And tell me, how did you transition? Like, how did you get your first job?
Yeah. My first job, I used to work at the college for the website, but I did not earn a lot of money there. It's more of passion and interest, being able to do something different, right? Also curiosity to learn at that time. Yeah. So I was in my 6th semester of my engineering, and a lot of these companies coming for campus placements. And yeah, obviously, I was trying my best to get through and get placed in one of the campus placements because I did not have the dream like some of my other friends to go to masters either in India or in the US. So I was I was mostly like targeting getting into a job. Also because of my situation with the family, and like my sister was going for medical education. She's a doctor now. So there's a lot of responsibility as a elder kid at home. Felt like job is the right choice for me somehow. I don't know. And actually failed in like 3 or 4 campus placements, I remember, when they came first. Again, put me off a little bit. I don't know why I'm failing. There was expectation from my peer group and the teachers at the school, like, hey, what happened?
Yeah.
Why are you not getting through? Kind of pressure. And I remember this day when my mom was actually sick that day, and she was extremely sick, and I actually had to stay home and take care of her. But I know that there is this new company coming next day at campus. So I spent all the night helping her out, and the next day morning, I thought, okay, let me just go and give it a shot. I was not even dressed up for a good interview. Without sleep, I rushed to the college, gave this. The campus placements back then used to have this entrance test and a group
Aptitude.
discussion and an interview format, technical interview format. They used to happen the whole day. So I was on time at the college, gave my test. I got to the test. That was the first surprise because I was not getting through before that. And then I sat for the group discussion. Then I realized, oh, all these guys are really great in the group discussion, and I was not getting an opportunity to speak up. Luckily, I got one cue, and I was able to clear the group discussion as well, and eventually the interview. And between some funny things that happened were like I was not even wearing shoes that day. I didn't even have a belt. One of my friends gave me a belt to wear and dress up, and borrowed shoes from someone else just to present myself in a better way at the interview. And that day somehow worked out for me. And went back home, and I did not tell my parents that I got placed. I just wanted to see their reaction because I've been failing like 4 times. And they tried to console me, saying that, hey, it's okay. I really, really felt good listening to that because, there are very few people who will support you even knowing that you failed. And parents are surely one of them. So a lot of respect for them.
Amazing stories. And once you got into your company, how did the move from India to US happen?
Oh, while speaking at the podcast, I feel like I have a lot of a lot of twists and turns in my story. Thanks for inviting me, by the way. Thing that happened to come here was I was working at Happiest Minds, a startup that I joined. In 2013, I traveled to the US on a business visa to talk to a customer here. It was a business visit. Then I stayed here for a couple of months, went back, started working with a customer for the next year or so as a consultant from India, formed a team, we were building, and this customer wanted me to relocate to the US. Around the same time, I was also dating my current wife, and based on the Indian culture, it's important for parents to be convinced before we actually get married. Dating was in progress, and yeah, I decided I'll not travel here.
Okay.
Like, I actually went the opposite way of resistance and not being ready to come here. Then I eventually decided that we'll get married, and then I had to talk to my parents. It was a little bit of friction, and then I kept pushing out and convincing somehow the customer that I'll work from India, not from here. But at some point, I know that we are going to get married in the next year or two. There's a convincing step towards it from the parents and the families of both of us, and eventually decided that I'll travel around 2014, end of 2014 here. Yeah, so that's how I came here.
Amazing. So you came here as part from Happiest Minds itself.
Yeah.
And who was the client here?
Pearson Education.
Pearson.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So you worked across multiple companies.
Mhm.
How do you identify right opportunities?
A good question, but I will slightly reframe that, right? Like, in my mind, there is nothing like a right opportunity. You get opportunities. You might think it's the right opportunity, but it's actually the process with which you solve the opportunity.
Okay.
Makes it right or wrong. it can be a brilliant opportunity, but you might screw it up. So how I always looked for opportunities is like, by nature, I used to pick the job that nobody wants in the team.
Mm-hmm.
You might have seen me at Pearson. That's the story throughout my career, even today. So yeah, one example there was graph databases. We had a huge problem, and then somebody has to step in and solve it because we had around 3,000 courses in production, and this database was not scaling up, right?
Yeah.
You actually successfully migrated to a right data model, which eventually made the graph more scalable. But when I started, the opportunity was not right. It was a lot of pressure. It was a failure. It was, nobody wants to touch it.
Exactly.
So, yeah. And currently, I also see like, even a small problem can be solved in a better way, and it can be made into a right opportunity, because AI is also opening up a lot of avenues for automation, being able to do things beyond the problem itself or make it more scalable for a lot of audience. I would not say I'll not do risk assessment or anything.
Okay.
As humans, you always have those instincts
Yes.
of survival. Maybe I do it, but at some point I'll go with, hey, how can we solve this problem in a different way?
So do you think about the benefits or the results of it? Do you think about that process at all, or you don't care? Like you don't mind all of that?
It's very difficult. Like you might think all those things, but nothing might happen, right? Like,
Yep.
yeah, I don't know if I meet Rakesh Reddy, I'll be sitting in this podcast today. Like I met you like 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Suddenly you called me one day, we talked other things,
Happened.
and then you said like, oh, I'm doing a podcast, will you be interested? I said, yeah, let us sit out and talk about it.
So you moved from Pearson to Quizlet.
Mm-hmm.
So walk me through how you decided on your career shift, like, from Pearson as a manager, here you came as a manager, and then you got promoted to director. How did these transitions happen? What of some of the key skills that you think that has helped you?
As a manager, the focus is on execution, delivery, helping your team grow. And as a leader, I felt the most important skill was being emotionally intelligent around the situation that you are in, because you're end of the day dealing with a lot of humans and people out there, and all of us go through a lot of things every day. While we chase our deadlines, we chase what we want to do, what we want to learn, all the pressures around industry. It's also important to make sure we recognize the problems of the people. And the reason why I'm getting there was, I always felt if you actually have a team that is self-motivated, they actually deliver more and much more quality than the team that you have to push every day. So that is the biggest lesson I learned so far. Does it happen overnight? No. Like it goes through a process. So as a leader, I thought I kind of figured out how to get through that process quickly for every new team that I form or every new team that I adapt. That helped me like get through my management career, right? Like being able to execute, like predictability of the team. Like I can most of the time after a couple of months can say that, hey, whether this team can deliver on this data or not, pretty thoroughly and confidently, because I have a process that I go through, like how to break the work, what kind of skill set we have, like did I make this team well organized or rightly balanced, or how can I influence my leader to actually help me balance this team out. All those things matter. And going into director was a different mindset. It took me some time to figure that out, but eventually I had a couple of good mentors at work who helped me think in that direction. I used to mostly think about execution, but as a director, the namespace, right? Like you actually starting to think more about direction than execution. Like the best analogy I can give is like if you're traveling in a ship, even a 1 degree change can put you at a different port. So as a director, you have that kind of responsibility. Even a small deviation in the direction that you're providing could make the team land in a totally different place, which is not helpful. So how to build that muscle and how to actually find patterns that you can help your team with. Yeah, those are the things that are important to like get to the next
Awesome.
level. Yeah, I also feel like the readiness makes sense. My boss actually pushed me to think about my readiness so that I don't fail when I become one. Right.
So this is definitely a great tip for someone who is looking to grow in their career. Thank you. Yeah, tell me about a tough decisions where there was no clear right answer.
There are a few frameworks that I use. So if I break down the question like, how would you identify the unknowns and how do you manage them, right? Like there's two parts broadly. First of all, failing fast is important. Like when there is an unknown situation, like, okay, you have an unknown, but how can you get a signal, right? Like, so what is the rationale for the unknown is important. Like, for example, let's say we have a decision like which model to use, like Claude or OpenAI or Gemini or any other open source model. So what are the parameters that you can look at, right? Like, okay, what is my use case? What am I trying to optimize for? So identify your problem statement and like what you want to optimize for. And then to pick a model, what is important? Like you look at the output, which is the first most important thing, whether this model can give the output that is up to the standard or not. Second, cost. What is the cost of the output? Let's say Claude is giving us 91% in our evals. And then if GPT is giving us 90% in our evals, but if GPT is 10x cheaper, maybe you'll go for picking that the other one. Like, yeah, this is a model related issue, but these kind of things, trade-offs are all the time there, both at work and in life. The way to approach, quickly take one direction, have your parameters that you're referring to, get the data for the parameters that you want to check the boxes for, and then you have the results, either go in the direction or shift your direction. That's all.
Perfect.
That's the best way we can look at it. And you cannot usually predict if it's unknown, like very upfront, it's very difficult.
Okay.
Best example is SpaceX. They keep launching rockets, but they know that they're going to fail, but they keep going at it because they're learning from it and quickly iterating on the next version. And they quickly learn with experimentation, and they know exactly what parameters to look for.
Not be scared of pivoting and then course correcting.
So from picking a model to launching a rocket, almost same principles, but it's about the parameters that you want to learn for.
So when things are moving so fast, how do you decide what not to prioritize? Because sometimes you feel like everything is P0. Everything is, we need that, we need this also. So how do you not prioritize?
Oh yeah, I exactly was coming out from this conversation yesterday evening. This problem is very common, especially when you grow up in the leadership levels. Product managers want everything to be P0. They are excited to launch stuff. Engineering teams always push back, so many P0s, how should we optimize? I would say have milestones, pick the most important things that you have to do, motivate the team to do them. As a manager or director, you have the responsibility to give that flexibility to the team to identify the toughest problems that you want to work on, solve those first, and also make sure those tough problems are the ones who that are creating the user value. If you are a consumer product, or a business value, if you're a B2B, and all the other things can be iterative. Like I look at this thing as a concentric circles, like identify what is the most central part of the problem that you're solving. And people can call whatever it is, right? P0, P1, P2, but you also know, like fascinating part, once you fix this core problem, your P2s will become P0s for the next set.
So at your level today, as a director, what separates a good decision from a great decision?
A good decision, great decision, purely depends on the circumstances, right? Like for me, anything that helps the team move fast is a great decision. Like any decision that takes a lot of time is a bad decision to start with. It's very important because, especially at a startup, like you're moving so fast, you have a lot of competition and you have the fear of survival. So the more you delay a decision to be made, you're losing time and you cannot actually help the team build. So say how quickly you can get to making a decision is a great decision.
You said you are one of those who believes in emotional intelligence of your team, right? So how do you foster innovation within your team?
Multiple ways. I'm a strong believer that, yeah, if you don't innovate, you don't exist, especially in the world of startups. So innovation is the first thing, rather. You can innovate in many ways. Like you can even innovate in the most boring work that you're doing. Some of the things or themes that we follow at work are hackathons help a lot. Like we do like hack weeks at our work. Quizlet does a couple of them every year. Get a lot of great ideas, and also people actually build a lot of things within 1 week. It's a great way to trigger the team for innovation. But it should not be the only time you're innovating. Like every quarterly planning or every sprint planning for that matter, we always ask that question like, hey, we are solving this problem, this sprint. How can we solve in a different way, in an innovative way? Then there's always ideas on the floor. Because the team is now tuned to think that way based on, because the question exists in our planning, is not something that we forget asking ourselves. So it's important to create those norms and patterns within the teams. Innovation is a habit. Like, how can you create habits? By making it part of the list of the questions that you have. And innovation should be part of that list. And when you question it, always there are opinions and ideas and opportunities that you can find. Sprint to sprint, quarterly planning, and hack weeks. Range of innovation changes, but it's always there.
Right. So as you said, innovation lies in every step
Right.
across the roles. But how do you still foster the safe environment for experimenting?
Yeah, you can always solve the problem in a dirty way or in a abstracted way, right? One example that recently I can take from our workplace is we had an opportunity to organize our content differently at Quizlet. The approach that we took is we can stick to the domain of the problem that we are solving and have the organization within the domain for the new project that we are working on, which makes it extremely easy and simple to solve the problem, and we can run fast. We thought we'll do a small tweak to that. Like, we know that this organization problem is not just for the new project that we are making, it's a company level problem. If we solve the problem, then we decided that we should solve at the company level, not the domain level of the project. That is a small mindset shift. And the timeline comes here, right? Like, okay, now you're saying we need to solve this problem at the company level. We don't know all the use cases and we have to learn first. And then we decided as a team that we will do an abstraction for organizing content from the project or feature that we are building, which can be very generic and helps any organization that can happen at the company level. But the decision that we had to make there was do this abstraction and use it only for this project to start with.
Okay.
So now what happened was team is offloaded from the burden of thinking about all the other problems that we need to solve with this abstraction. They are making this abstraction generic enough and using it only in the project that we want to launch first.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't change the timeline too much, but it still gives you the abstraction that you can use after this project is done. Or in the meantime, if there is bandwidth from some other team, they can actually think about this problem. Like, it's all about, that's where the director role or the VP role comes into picture as well. Like, this particular thing was actually identified by our VP. And then we all quickly understood that, oh, it's a great thing to do. Versus nobody has identified, we might have gone the other way, rabbit hole, and like even maybe caused more problems without this abstraction for the future. So yeah, that is a small change in the 1 degree direction I was talking about.
So in the era of AI, it's almost like a time shift that you can sense how we operate at work, right? Including like personal work also. There are a lot of influence of AI.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you see your role as a director would evolve over the next few years with AI?
Right. I have my thoughts about it. I feel the future will be like the future of a teams, small set of teams, like maybe teams of 10 people doing a lot of work. Because now AI is going to make these 10 people really productive, is how I look at it. Still, humans are in the loop. Maybe you'll start ending up doing more things because you have access to them now. As humans, we always wanted to do more. We always want to explore new areas. I think this AI can accelerate that. Now, if you have like a director in some companies manages like 50 to 100 people, 4 or 5 different teams, that could change. That patterns could change. Like, because now these 10 people are so efficient and you still have a lot to do, like the large teams might become unmanageable because so much of output is coming, and to influence and put them in the right direction would become difficult. So the future with AI would be like small teams really focused on like delivering huge projects, is how I look at it.
So how is it helping you as a director in taking calls? Is it like able to enrich like multiple data sources and giving you instant metrics which is clear enough to make a decision, so which is making it easier for you? A holistic view you are getting instead of just a few data points. Now you're able to tap into so many other sources, and that is able to flag the risk assessment way ahead in time than what you would have got into like in a few weeks into it and then realize there are some red flags.
Absolutely right. Like, so whenever we go into planning, we do some estimations, right? Like it could be engineering estimations for like bandwidth. It could be the data estimations, like, hey, what is the impact of this thing? Impact estimations, right? Like, so signals are important to make decisions and plan things. I use AI a lot in my own work. Like, I have all MCP integrations across. We use Jira for tracking work, and we use GitHub for hosting code, and we have a A/B experimentation framework, and we have a bunch of other things. I have my model integrated with all these MCPs, and yeah, end of the day, whatever data I want, I actually just ask my conversational interface. And one example I can give is recently we are working on some project and I needed some data insights. Usually it is a big circle. Like I need to go to the data scientist, ask where is this data available, and can you please get me XYZ? And then most of the time they come back with some charts and data set, might not be answering all my questions. Then I have to send a follow-up, get back, usually a 3 to 5 days back and forth to actually seek the data. I actually helped our product leader as well get all their data that they want to make this decision within the time of the 30-minute meeting. Just you ask me and I have this whole thing set up. I can give directionally accurate data. I might not say it will be as good as what data scientist is providing, but I can tweak my prompts and get 95% right on the directionality of the data that we are looking at within that meeting. So very useful. And I also use for summarizing all the sprints that all the teams reporting to me are working on. I use that for looking at details like developer experience, like how long a pull request is taking before they get what is the average time happening on the team. Is there something actually causing that friction? Because one thing AI did was like, now you get too many pull requests suddenly because everybody is using AI and pumping it up. But still we are not at that place where we can actually merge the code without even taking a look at it from the human point of view, because you don't know what kind of prompts everybody is using. Right now we are standardizing them with skills, but still people use their own prompts sometimes, and like maybe that is not right. So trying to optimize those things, but yeah, we use AI. I use AI for learning all these things and like setting the direction for the team.
Amazing how this is making your decisions easier, more accurate, and insightful for the rest of your teams too.
Yeah, surely improves the productivity of leaders as well.
Okay, so what do you think about a competitive advantage in the age of AI? Which type of products you think would just fade away, and what kind of products are emerging?
This is my personal take. I personally think the distribution is the biggest challenge in the era of AI. You can build something, but if you don't have a good distribution network, it's difficult. So you need to figure out what are the growth engines and how you can distribute what you're building. Yeah, so far I've seen, I'm currently working at a direct to consumer product, and I do think we have a good distribution network. So I do think we are seeing year-on-year growth because of that. It's different for different things, like Salesforce problem, right? Like Salesforce also is getting challenged because of AI at this point. People are saying software as a service is still an important thing, but Salesforce has such a big distribution network. I don't think they're in trouble anytime soon unless somebody can actually build that kind of a distribution network.
People can come up with better products, but if they don't crack that last distribution
Last mile,
framework,
yeah. It's as simple as you can have a great kitchen, you can cook good food in your restaurant, but if it is like super remote and it's difficult to reach,
yeah,
nobody
yeah,
will come
yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah.
right? Like make it available on DoorDash, you'll make a lot of money.
Okay. So now, keeping distribution aside, what do you think the ideas of coming up with a product? Do you think there is a shift in type of products getting built that you sense that are emerging products, or at least the thought processes, compared to our traditional SaaS based products that are getting built?
All kinds of things are happening out there. People are building overnight products, 1% products. We are hearing in a lot of news networks, like there will be soon 1% trillion-dollar companies
Solopreneur,
and stuff.
like OpenClaw, like one guy built
OpenClaw.
it. And,
Yeah, that's what happened. Even OpenClaw is pretty good with distribution, right? Okay, now you can actually have agents work anywhere, which are also tapping into the distribution network, like any social media platform and stuff. So yeah, all kinds of products. There is no limit there. Like,
yeah.
I still think engagement is important. Like,
Solving
be it
customer
business or be it direct to consumer, you still need to have patterns where people can come back to.
Mm.
So any product that is building just for one-time use, they're struggling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus you're building a product that can make your user base come back to, and those are the successful ones. Again, very strong distribution factor is playing a big role there.
So, what are some skills that you recognize are very important and you're consciously working towards improving on that?
Yeah, one of the biggest things as a leader is how to measure the productivity in the era of AI, right? Like, I don't think I still have a good answer. Like, I cannot tell clearly, like, AI is helping us improve 40% or 50% or 100%. We don't know that answer clearly yet. What we know is people are using AI, people are using many tools. We are seeing a signal based on the outputs that is improving productivity, but there's no clear indication how much productivity. And going back to your question, I think that's okay. We don't need to know exact percentage of productivity, but time to time, are we getting better? And identifying those indicators is more important than percentages. Also, the second thing that comes to my mind is the world of AI is rapidly changing. Changing so rapidly, you're hearing about a new model every 2-3 weeks and how they're disrupting it. You're also listening to the news that how these models are actually cheating themselves, and finding answers from GitHub instead of actually using their knowledge base.
Yeah.
So it's important to think about safety and security of these models when you're introducing them into your products and workplace. Yeah.
So, do you feel like, trying out yourself, build some agents that can help you in your own productivity? It's not like your team is working towards a goal that company has big bets towards, right? Instead, have you experimented or like created some skills or some agents that can help yourself in increasing productivity or data insights and all that?
Yeah, we have built multiple skills in our code base already, and it's being used by all the engineers. Skills will really help standardize the prompting and what output you can expect from what people are interacting with. One of the problems was custom prompting. Like every engineer has their own prompts, and there's no standardization, and then you're still leaning heavily on the human reviews. With skills, that uncertainty or ambiguity, I will not say it will go away, but it will reduce quite a bit, because now you're standardizing proven skills and prompts that go into the system, and you're reviewing them constantly. Agents, yes, I am not leaning towards agents too much, but recently we did some agents for building our observability dashboards and SLO dashboards. Extremely effective, I would say. It took a couple of iterations for us to get it right, but right now, any new thing that we are introducing is not a human who is actually setting up the dashboard. It's an agent that knows, like, the new service, looks at the configuration, figures out how to set up the dashboard for us, and it's up and live and run. Also seen advantage of agents for monitoring. Like we have this monitoring agent where it will actually look at the alerts that we are getting and figures out what pull request might have caused this, and then keeps it ready for the on-call person to quickly react to the situation. Maybe in the future, make the agent take action as well. Right now, not so confident yet with what is happening. But it gets us pretty close to the
It's fascinating
situation.
how things are moving towards autonomous execution.
Execution, yeah.
All right, so I have this section where I have named it rapid fire, but it's not truly a rapid fire. It's not like one word answers or anything, but I want short answers. Can you share an embarrassing moment that taught you an important lesson in your life?
My handwriting.
Okay, so that's shaped your career, in fact.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's one habit that keeps you grounded?
I believe in it, like believing that you should stay grounded. Habit, I don't know if it is a habit.
Yeah,
it's a mindset.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you approach it? Like, you don't want to be in some la la land or completely disconnected with your team or your personal life. So how do you keep yourself grounded?
The emotional intelligence factor, right? Like, okay, now you're working with other people who have faced or facing either problems or similar problems as you, or like problems that all of us as humans make. So there is always a reason why somebody is not showing up the same way at work every day. Being able to understand that as a leader is very important, and having that conversation, being able to clearly separate bad performance with bad instance of a performance for a particular day, those are important. Like, and not having to react to those things without understanding is a very bad thing as a leader. So that keeps me grounded, that okay, we are working with human beings and we should be emotionally intelligent about these things.
Great answer. I like that. So if you were not in tech, what would you be doing with your bad handwriting?
If I was not in tech, I couldn't imagine I was not in tech. Maybe I would have chosen a medical field, because it's not because of handwriting, but I'm actually fascinated how doctors can save lives. And even though I'm not a doctor, I'm quite interested in that.
You mentioned your sister is a doctor.
My sister is a doctor, and I'm very interested in health tech. If I was not working in edutech, either healthcare or health tech would be my second choice, I would say.
Nice. So is there someone who keeps you on your toes, like, pushes you to stay sharp?
My wife. Yeah, she is very helpful for keeping me grounded and also thinking sharp, because you can win anywhere, but winning at home is very difficult.
Very difficult. Probably you don't have to win.
It's not about winning at home. It's about
managing the situation.
Having the partner. It's all credit to her, because I wouldn't have grown wherever I am without her support. But yeah, she is the one who keeps me sharp and functional. Yeah.
That's always good to have someone very close who is keeping out your
Yeah.
toes.
Yeah.
Sorry?
It's in a positive way.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, so this has been an incredible conversation. Thank you so much. Before we wrap up, do you have any final thoughts or messages that you want to share with our listeners?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I really enjoyed our conversation, and thanks for asking those great questions and helping me share some of the experiences that I had. Yeah, I don't think I can tell this is what you should do, but I would say, yeah, stay with your instincts and gut feel. There's no right or wrong decisions. Go with the flow, but make sure you're not spending too long before you get a signal on the decision that you're making. It's important to like quickly move and iterate. I also seen people like if they're passionate enough about something, being persistent and having that vision really helps. So these are the two things I want to like learn from and start doing. So yeah, that's what I would recommend for us. Also, most important thing is happiness. Like if you're not staying happy, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, it's not worth it.
Thank you so much, Ravi, for being part of the Backend story.
Thank you, Rakesh.